Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to the Sajdah channel. This is Sajdah Morning Coffee Talks, and I'm your host, Sajdah Wendy Muhammad. And today we're going to talk about making a personal investment in something. Okay? Be a friend, tell a friend, and we'll be right back.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee. And he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
First national training conference was held 30 years ago. Congratulations. And I'm even more excited this year to open the Elijah Muhammad House, also known as Sajdah House, up for some special tours just for you, National Training Conference attendees. We're going to be having special tours on Thursday, 3 p.m. and 6 p.m., and also on Sunday at 4 p.m. So just go to ElijahMuhammadHouse.com and register to attend. And remember, space is very limited, so we got to get there and get registered. Congratulations, and I can't wait to see you. Welcome to Chicago. Assalamu alaikum, family. I am back and we are live. Today, I want to talk about investing. Not investing financially, but investing with effort. Because sometimes we think that our only asset And our only way to invest is if we have money. But many of us are investing time and effort into something. I mean, let's face it, this country was built based on involuntary investment, but really if you look at it, time and effort being invested in something that we didn't get a return out of. So I think that there's probably some kind of epigenetic, there's some kind of thing there where a lot of times we don't want to invest. And one of the best things I think we can do for our children is putting them in an environment and in a space and a mindset where they're comfortable investing. That's, that's the key. And so I want to show a quick video. It's an Eric Thomas video. I love Eric Thomas. And he's talking about the art of success, but what he's really talking about is investing too much to quit. Okay. So I want y'all to check this out and I'll be right back.
So I want to read something to you. I want to help somebody. Now I'm going to get somebody the light tonight. I'm going to give you a light tonight, and you may not need it right this second, but at some point in your life, you're going to need it. Greatness is remembering in the dark what God told you in the light. I just want to help somebody out. Whatever the Creator tell you in the dark, listen to me. Whatever he tells you, remember, greatness is remembering in the dark what the Creator told you in the light. I tell the little homies, do me a favor. You got 3 minutes, little homie, to give me that little crying story. You got 3 minutes. Tell me when you're ready and go. You will not take 10 minutes of my time whining and crying about it. You give me 3 minutes and give me your story, and you got 10, 15 minutes to give me a solution. Nobody want to hear that, because after the end of it, my wife left me, and what you going to do about it? Is she going for good or you going to get her? No, bro, I'm talking from experience, bro. My sophomore year in college, doing my thing, traveling the road, not listening to my wife. She packed up and came back to the D and said, I'm through. I said, all right, you might be, but not without me coming down there. You feel me? You can tell me on the phone you through with me. I'm cool with that. You can write me a letter, because there wasn't no text back then. You can write me a letter and tell me. No, hear what I'm saying. You can tell me on the phone you through with me. I invested too much. I invested too much to quit. I made too many sacrifices to give up. No, listen to me. That's why it's so easy for you to quit, because you ain't paid nothing for it. I paid too much. I stood before your mama and your dad and said, till death do us part. If you leave, you will not leave me over the phone or through a letter. You will look me in my face and tell me you gone after I bring you the roses. Listen to me, you gotta hear what I'm saying. I ain't talking like somebody who ain't never been through nothing. I'm telling you she got up and left. I'm telling you she drove all the way back to Detroit from Alabama by herself and was through. I got on the road. So I will greet this day with love in my heart, all positive. When I see her, I don't care what she say. She will know in my heart, I'm sorry and I want you back. That was 26 years ago. So if you go outside and you see it's like dark, 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 and you see the stars out there, listen to me. You can only see the stars in the what? That's the only time you can see the stars. You can't see the stars when the sun is out. You can only see the stars when it's dark. So y'all got to start doing me a favor. It's some crazy stuff going on right now. But what I will not do is allow that craziness to penetrate me. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. For thou art with me, thou my rod and my staff, thy comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. I anoint my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me. When I get in my funk, over and over, all the days of my life, over and over and over again. Greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. Oh, I got my stuff. So when life happens, I don't just sit there and cry. I buck back. I buck back. When when I see stupid stuff on the news. See, I saw what happened in Vegas. That's why I woke up the next day and I went to the school system with my church and my crew, and we went in there and inspired kids. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Love you and believe in you, God. Yep, you took 50 lives. Now we about to go inspire 50 lives. And we ain't gonna talk. I ain't gotta do a lot of talk. People call, Eric, what do you think? It don't matter what I think. I'm past talking. They don't eat from you talking. They don't eat from news. They don't eat from commentary and critique. Where I come from, they eat when somebody go help them eat. I ain't just talking to talk. We will be at the school and we will videotape it while we're there. And we'll put it up on YouTube so other teachers who don't know how to train our babies and bring the best out of our babies and engage and motivate our babies, I will show them what it looks like. So you took 50 and injured 400. We coming for you. That hate is not greater than love. Hate has never been greater than love. Hate has never conquered. Love conquers all. Love is the strongest force ever. And so I will greet this day with love in my heart. I will greet this day with love in my heart, and I will overcome evil.
Wow, that was beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I want to talk about a few things that we saw on there. I'm going to save reading Psalms 23 and talk a little bit about that towards the end of our talk this morning. But I want to talk about an investment. I want to give the definitions of investment. All of life is about an investment. If there's anything you want, you have to pay for it. There's nothing free. If you want a successful career, you have to pay for it by investing in it, whether it's your education. That education may require 4 years, 6-year education. It may require an intense study at a tech school or something like that. It may also require investment with a lot of experience. In that you got to get up and go to work. So when you invest, you're going to get a reward. And so sometimes I don't think we think about that outside of financial. We don't think about investments outside of the financial side of things. It's pretty much just with money. But it's like when you put it in biblical terms, it's like sowing and reaping. What you put into something, you're going to get something out. If you pour negativity in it, you're going to get negativity out, or you're going to get some byproduct of that negativity or some mixture of that negativity in it. It's true with everything, whether it's having children, whether it's building a business, whatever it is. That's the idea, is the investment piece of it. So when you heard Eric Thomas talking about how he had invested too much to quit, I want us to think about that as we're procrastinating about things that we're working on, as we decide we're going to abandon our diet, as we decide that we're just going to give up. Your time, your life, your efforts are worth something. They are, in fact, worth more than money. And so you've already invested. You've invested, and you've invested a lot. And so I want you to think of that. Let's look at these definitions. Investment, there's 3 different versions. The first one is the act or process of investing money for profit or material result. That's generally how we think of an investment. Okay. The second one says a thing that is worth buying. Oh, that's an example. Okay. No, we can use this. A thing that is worth buying because it may be profitable or useful in the future. So we think about putting money or action into a process, or we think about buying something that we think is going to be valuable in the future. Like you buy your Elijah coin, you feel like, okay, it's going to be worth something in the future, right? I thought about that because I was thinking about the coins the other day, and I said, if we had coins from 1965 that represented, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, they would be worth so much today. So that's my little shameless plug for you all to go to ElijahMuhammadHouse.com or SajdahHouse.com and get your commemorative coin. Then here's the third definition. Investment, an act of devoting time, effort, or energy to a particular undertaking with the expectation of a worthwhile result. So we decide what the result is that we want, then we put time and effort into getting it. So, but I want us to think about this, about everything that we do. There are some things where we consciously say, I'm getting up every day, I'm going to work on this job because I think they're going to promote me to manager, or I think I'm going to be the director one day, or whatever. We're investing because we're anticipating that we're going to get something worthwhile out of it, not to mention we're going to get a paycheck, right? We're investing in this business because we hope to get customers and we hope to get paid, have the cash flow we desire, blah, 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 okay? But what about the things that we do aimlessly, that we invest in? Are we thinking about what we're getting in exchange for it? Something you do mindlessly. If you say, okay, I'm walking down the street, you're walking down the street with the intention, you're investing the time and effort to walk down the street because you're planning on going somewhere, right? So if you're planning on going somewhere, that's your desired goal. Well, what about when you're just doing something and you're not paying attention to what you're doing? You're watching a program. I'm trying to get us to go to intention here and think about our intention. If you sit down and say, you know what, I think I'm gonna scroll on the internet, and you're doom scrolling on the internet. Why are you doing that? What are you investing in? And are you investing in something that's going to give you a return? Are you researching? Are you saying my return is that I just want to know the news? I want to know what's going on, or I'm looking for a new restaurant. Let's start being very intentional about our actions, because the idea of an investment is critical. I'm going to invest a few minutes because I want to find a good restaurant to take someone to. I'm going to invest a few minutes because I want to enjoy myself for 5 minutes. But what is that intention? Why did you invest? Thank you, Brother Ronald. Why did you invest the time? Why did you invest the energy? Why did you invest the information? Why did you invest, and what was your intention? It's not always about money. It's not always, we have to think, we're so accustomed to our time, energy, and our money not meaning anything. In other words, we go in, we give effort towards something, and we don't get anything back out of it. That's what we're so accustomed to, that oftentimes I think we forget that our day-to-day lives is all about investment. Why are you doing what you do? And so breaking that down and being very intentional. When I woke up this morning, I set my intention for the day. And sometimes it's not specific. Sometimes it's general. You may just wake up and say, I told somebody the other day, I said, you got to wake up with the intention of existing and operating beyond your circumstance that you're going through. Somebody was going through something. You got this that you're going through. Wake up with the intention of rising above it. What mantras are you saying in your head? Even down to certain prayers that I say in my head over and over again, or certain conversations I'm having in my head over and over again, it's an investment. Usually it's an investment to reprogram my mind, especially if I'm worrying or concerned about something and I don't want that vibration. Then I try to replace that worried thought with something that will recalibrate me. Sometimes when that worried thought or that concern hits me, I stop for a moment and I say, was that something I needed to pay attention to? Was that something that I needed to hear? Is that something that I needed to learn in that moment? And if I find that it's just the worry wheels starting to churn, then I may have other things that I'll say, a certain prayer, or I love that Eric Thomas quoted Psalms 23. I have a little area in a part of my house where I like to sit and read, and right there on a little frame is Psalms 23. And Psalms 23, we'll talk about the importance of that. But my point is, think about the investment, even your thoughts. If you decide to take the time to have a conversation about something in particular, then ask yourself, why am I having this conversation? Well, I'm having this conversation because I enjoy talking to my friend. I'm having this conversation because we're trying to figure out something. I'm having this conversation because I want to relay some information. But why am I investing my time? Okay. What is it that I'm doing? So many times, with everything competing for our attention, there are millions of things, and people are spending millions of dollars to get our attention so that our money will follow. And we're so accustomed to being manipulated that we don't even think about it. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they said that they were going to a particular store that we were talking about. We knew it was going to be extra crowded. And I said, well, you know what? I said, think about your time investment. I said, because if you're going to drive, 30 minutes to go to that particular store to buy something, think about what your time is worth and the amount of time to get there versus if you go down the street to the local grocery store and get it, what's the savings? What's the difference? Maybe a couple dollars, maybe it's $5 cheaper, but how much of your time did you have to invest just to get there and stand in line to get this thing that was $5 cheaper, and did it make sense? So we were talking about understanding, exchanging that time and energy, and how to respect our investment. Respect our investment. Sometimes you may decide that you want to spend time with somebody because you're investing in the relationship. Now, I don't suggest that you be that black and white with the person you're investing time with, but it's important, right? It's important. Think about that. Investing that time. So in her case, she was going to invest this time. Now, I said to her, and she said, well, when would something like that make sense, especially if you're trying to, be conscious of your money? I said, well, maybe taking a 30-minute drive to go to a store to save $5 is worth it if your grandmother's going with you, because she needs to go there and she's got things that she wants to get, and it's a great investment of your time together. Then that makes sense. But in a case like this, where you're saying you're rushing, you got a lot going on, you ain't really got time to drive out here and then stand in line for 30 minutes, then it may make sense to pay the $5 more. So that's how we have to start looking at things in terms of the investment that we're making and what are we in fact getting out of it. Because a lot of us invest a lot. This is what has an impact on our ability to pass on generational wealth. What happens to us a lot, not all the time, but oftentimes, is that we invest a lot in something. And then the difficulty factor gets really big, or the opposition grows and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And as a result, sometimes we give up. But this is when your mantras have to kick in. This is when your prayers have to kick in. This is when your attitude towards the situation has to kick in, so that you draw all the right circumstances together to fix this particular situation. And you have to be determined about it. This is when that kicks in, because it's always difficult right before you cross over to that other side. The investment. Don't keep investing and then walk away. Let's see what we got in the chat here. Brother Ronald put up the investment definition for us. He said, preparation is part of the investment. Prevent spontaneous decision making. Calculate your worth. Yeah, calculate your worth. Calculate your time. You know how much your time is worth, but are you going to just sit there and spend this extra 2 hours with somebody where maybe you could have done something else? Calculate your time. Think about what you're investing and set your intention. See, when you set your intention, it goes back to, I think I said this last week. You know how we were taught when we first came into the nation that scientists write history 50,000 years in advance and then we walk into it? That's like a bigger version of what we do every day. You see, we set the intention and then we go walk into it. The history is already written. And so if we don't have an intention, somebody else has an intention. And so we're either walking into their intention or we're walking into our own. So what intention did you set for today? Did you say, you know what, I'm going to be, now you may, here's another trick. If you got something that you're concerned about, you're worrying about, you're waiting on, sometimes your daily intention has to be more general, because that daily intention being more general is going to help prevent you from over worrying and being too stressed out and pinching yourself off from whatever solution or whatever it is that you're working on and waiting on. So it may make sense to go general. Because a lot of times, if you're waiting and waiting, you may just say, you know what, let me go to a prayer that I can say over and over again. Let me go to a mantra that I can say over and over again. Let me go for a walk and have a conversation with myself that I can do, but something that will take you general so that you're not worrying and making, because what you focus on gets bigger. And so you don't want the problem to get bigger and literally become a god because you're giving it all this attention. So you may have some solutions in play, and so you got to be general. Sometimes you have to be more specific, and you say, okay, I have my agenda of items, things I'm going to do today. I got to do payroll. I got to do this. I got to do that. You may have certain things specifically that you are going to do, so you are okay with being specific. So you got to know yourself. If it's something that's really big that you're worrying about, don't keep repeating the worry in your brain over and over again. And then don't design a prayer by what you're asking of Allah, God, or the universe as a negative thing. If you got to dial back, or if you just got to be grateful. Sometimes it's just a matter of talking yourself into a higher vibration. You know what, Allah? I know you've never forsaken me. I know you would not have brought me this far to leave me. I don't have the solution in front of me right now, but I know it's coming. I know you know people I don't know. I know you go places I don't go. I know you can see things that I can't see. And so open up, allow me to open up. Give me a demonstration of what you want my next step to be, that you're here. You can talk yourself into a better vibration than stressing out and worrying. And what is that talking yourself into a better vibration doing? It's investing in a worthwhile outcome. So you're investing in what you want. What I want is a higher vibration in that moment. And so investing in that higher vibration in that moment makes sense. Okay. You want to be very careful with watching things, whether it's, especially if you're really in a low point, something that will bring you down lower, you may want to be careful with watching that. Even if it's a lecture or a sermon or something like that, it could be from, somebody that you really love. But if it's a more darker subject, and listening to that dark subject is sinking you into a depression, you got to dial back from it. And maybe from that same person, find something that's more in alignment with where you want to be or where you need to be, and not where you are, or darker than where you are to bring you down. Because you can listen to a sermon or a lecture, and then next thing you know, you're in a full-blown depression. So we got to be conscious of our spirituality and where we are. Because if you're already depressed and you're listening to something about murder and, something negative that is a good subject, it just may not be time for you to listen to that right now. This is why studying is so important, because then you know where to go to in your library of things that you can read or you can watch that will uplift you. Some of us have certain lectures of the minister that no matter what, when we hear them, they just lift us up. And then there's others that are more challenging to hear, or sometimes I may listen to it and it may make me cry. And I have to say, you know what, I can't listen to this one right now because I'm already not feeling good. So be cognizant of your investment, because if I sit down in front of YouTube University, as I call it, and I just meditated and I'm listening to myself, and I can feel that maybe I'm not feeling too good. Something may have happened. I'm feeling something triggered me, or something went on, whatever, but I'm not feeling that good. I'm not at my highest vibrational space. Then after I've done those analysis and asked myself, what is this here to teach me? What should I be paying attention to? Where is this trying to point me? Because the thing is, we don't run from our emotions. We use them as a compass, right? So I try to see where the compass is pointing me. And then if I have to say, well, you know what, I think I need to lift my vibration, then I know what things to go to, whether it's music, whether it's a program. Sometimes you just need information coming your way that gives you hope, or something. It may not be watching the news, because you may be watching the news and they're talking about war and legal cases and fighting and all this negativity. Well, if you are right now in that depressed state, watching the news is probably not something you want to do, especially not first thing in the morning. Now, if you wake up, you finish your morning routine and you're feeling high, your vibration is high, and you go, okay, I can check out the news. Check it out with an intention. What is your intention? To see what's going on in the world, to get an update on such and such, so-and-so, to get a feel for, because the news can kind of help you see where things are going to go, but set an intention with that. Don't just have that thing playing over and over and over again in the background, reprogramming your mind, because what will happen is you're really investing in those connected behaviors. Okay. I want to read before we go. I'm going to read Psalms 23, because Eric Thomas, in the video that we covered early in the show, talked about how Psalms 3 was his go-to. And I also wanted to say that, when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad last saw Master Farad Muhammad, he gave him Psalms 23. Psalms 23 is so powerful. It's the Psalms that my mother actually familiarized me with, and I use it all the time to lift my energy, to ground me, to secure myself. It's a great thing to read before you go into meditation, because it's just gonna, you can meditate on these words. There's also certain prayers that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave us that are really great to go into meditation about. Like, I seek thy refuge from being overpowered by debt and the oppression of men. That's a good one for business owners. We've covered that before, to say that prayer and then go into meditation over that prayer, because what you're praying for in that prayer is, in fact, the way in which we want to move and navigate as entrepreneurs. And so that's a powerful one to study. Okay. But let me, I'm going to read Psalms 23. Okay. And it reads like this: the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Okay. It reminds me of, I remember one time I said I was nervous. I was going somewhere. I had to do something. And I was talking to a friend, and I said, I'm a little nervous. And he just said, well, there is no God but Allah. And I was like, whoa. Because in that moment where you're getting nervous, I had to ask myself a question when he responded that way. This was on a text. What have I made a God out of? And what am I making bigger than Allah, or bigger than my purpose for going here and doing what I do? So the Lord is my shepherd, and I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. My mom repeated that to us growing up all the time. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. So that's the Psalms that he was talking about in the video earlier. And something that you can use and reference and say to yourself. Sometimes it's the Al-Fatiha prayer, but that constant being in prayer, I love doing walking prayers. Or workout prayers. So if I'm walking, I'm praying. While I'm walking, I'm praying. So that movement, that momentum is really calibrating every cell in my body to the ask or the confirmation or the gratitude in that prayer, the vibration of that prayer. Sometimes it's working out. Like if you do yoga, you can find mantras you can do during your yoga, or you can just pray as you're going through your yoga movements. A lot of people, will lift weights, and they lift to certain music and stuff like that. But what's very powerful is when you're lifting and going through the repetitions with a prayer. It's very powerful. If you're just saying silently, you're going through your repetitions and you're praying, you have a prayer. The thing is, remember, you want to lengthen the time that you stay in the vibrational space that you want to be in. You might be able to get in it in this space, and then you get a phone call and some throws you off, or you're worried about some money coming in and how many customers you're going to have this weekend. And then you're doing good, but as soon as you get to the store, then you see all the pile of bills is sitting there, or something comes in and they say, well, they can't deliver it until you pay. Then it takes you right out of that vibration. But if you have to jump out of the vibration or jump out of the vortex for that moment to handle that, the idea is to jump back in. Because the concept is that what you want is always there for you. It's right there. That table has already been prepared for you. But what happens is when we're going through the vicissitudes of life, those worries, those struggles, they start to pinch you off and push you further, you and I, further away from that table that's already been prepared for us. And so we have to go through a personal or an interpersonal process, do some inside work to qualify ourselves or prepare ourselves to slide back up to that table. And that may mean getting rid of some of these negative vibrations. And the only way you will get there and understand what actions you need to take is you got to quiet down some of the noise. And quieting down some of the noise can become a challenge because you don't even know it's noise until you start moving. Well, when you get to the office and things start happening, then you're taking that moment. This is why people whistle while they work. They sing while they work. They pray while they work. But always what you want to do is lengthen the amount of time that you are in the right vibration. Excuse me. Ronald said, I call that alignment of the mind. Excuse me, mind, body, and soul prayers while doing, yes. Excuse me. Sorry about that. This was powerful. I like that. Alignment of the mind, body, and soul prayers while doing physical activities. Right? All right. So, any questions over that? We talked about investment. You've invested too much to quit. You've invested too much even in life by spending time here to quit and give up, commit suicide or whatever. And anybody contemplating that, I would say to you, what if giving up in this life doesn't end your pain? What if you go on to something else and you carry that pain with you? We don't know. Nobody has ever come back from the dead and told us, sort of, kind of. But what if? What if you take that pain with you? That's a whole nother deep conversation. Okay, family, love you all. Make sure you all register. We're going to be doing some private tours during the National Training Conference. If you go to ElijahMuhammadHouse.com or SajdahHouse.com, you can register to attend. We had some funkiness going on with the link yesterday. So if you still can't get in and something's wrong, email me, sajdahhouse@gmail.com, and we'll figure it out. Because it was working for me and working for some people, and then some people said it didn't work for them. So at this point, we're not really sure what to do. We've already blessed out the vendor that handles the interface, and they're swearing on a stack of Bibles that it's working. But let me know if you're having any problems with registering for the training conference, and we'll go from there. Okay. I have a few things that I'm working on. I'll be letting you all know. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Let's see. Brother Ronald said, appreciate your time, well invested for this new chapter. Yes, praise be to Allah. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll be back. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Central Time, right here on the Sajdah channel for Saturday morning coffee talk. And we have one interesting thing that's going to be coming up connected to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House. Of course, we got the training conference, the Chicago Black Muslim History Tours coming through. And then we have the first episode of our series that we've been working on called The Messenger's Residence. The first series is called The Messenger's Footsteps. And so I'm working on how we're going to premiere that. I'm thinking what we may do is we'll do something at the house, but stream it. So I may put the time out there. Let me know what you guys think. You guys think like on a Saturday night, or you want to do it late Sunday? It's only like 25 minutes, so we could do it a Sunday evening. I just got to look at the calendar, but like a Sunday evening. But I wanted to have some dialogue around it. And so we may have like a roundtable discussion happening in person, and then you all can watch online, or we may just do it all virtually. That's another thing. And then afterwards, we can just have guests on and we can chime in and talk and have a conversation about the Messenger's Footsteps. Let me know what y'all think. But I'm leaning towards the virtual piece of it, which will allow all of you all to chime in, and then having guests on so that we can discuss. So just a thought. I'm working on that. But anyway, stay tuned tomorrow. It may become clearer to me tomorrow. And we may have something else new that we're working on. All right. Peace and blessings, family. Love you all very much. Happy 4th of July. Thank you so much, sir. Happy 4th of July. And support the efforts. Y'all see the Cash App there. You see the Zelle. We appreciate your support, your gifts. Brother said you doing well with the house. I appreciate that. I look at it every day. So sometimes it's hard for me to see because we're doing, little things day by day. And for the most part, it's, been on me to do. And so I'm blessed to work and be able to do things that will bring in opportunities to give us money to finish certain things. But your help is greatly appreciated. And so it's very much appreciated because it just makes it much, much easier on me. It's an extremely expensive undertaking. Okay. And interestingly enough, when you study the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and you see his level of benevolence and his template he gave us on economic development, he definitely was not scared of no big numbers. He was not scared of the big numbers financially. He wasn't about being cheap, and he definitely was. I was reading something where it was a court case, and a judge said that he was one of the most benevolent men that he had ever seen. Powerful stuff. So it all kind of ties in, and I'm tying it in to be able to tell some of these stories. And so that's coming soon as well. But okay, if you have problems with the link and registering for a tour for the National Training Conference, send me an email, sajdahhouse@gmail.com. We had a couple people having problems with the link, a couple that did not. So we're working on that. And I want you to stay tuned because we're also going to probably do a virtual release of the Messenger's Footsteps. But I want to do it great and big with some guests. And the challenge with doing it at the house is because we're still finalizing. We got our internet and stuff up, but we got to put boosters all over that house. Because let me tell you something. They wasn't thinking about no Wi-Fi and cell phone signals in the 1900s when they put all that plaster and mahogany and walnut wood in there. So we're working that out too. Okay, family. I hope you would support. Go to Sajdah Enterprises on Cash App. You can Zelle me. All that's going across the bottom. If you forget, you can't think of that, just go to ElijahMuhammadHouse.com. And there are QR codes that are there that you can use to support and to donate. Okay. Any little bit helps. And any lot of bit really helps. Okay, I'm out of here. Peace and blessings.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who in my judgment is the master historian, taught us that of all our studies, history is the most attractive, and it is best qualified to reward the researcher. History is most attractive. Why should history be most attractive? Because history is the recorded time of the human family in its struggle to overcome obstacles. There is no life that is without struggle. The Holy Quran teaches us that man, meaning man and woman, is made to face difficulties. And after difficulty comes ease. But it is history that guides us through difficulty. For if you know how people who had difficulty yesterday got through, and if your difficulty is somewhat similar, then today we also can get through if we follow the guidance of history. This is why Carter G. Woodson and many of our black giants fought for black people to know our history. Because in not knowing our history, we don't have a guide. And without a guide, we are lost.